Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Jonikala, and today we're having a look at Secta by a company called K Devices. So let's go to their website. I guess first of all, I bumped into this through an ad that I saw on Instagram. Seemed very interesting. As you might know, I'm a huge fan of broken, lo-fi, warbly sounds, and this apparently does just that. So I got very interested, and I heard interesting demos and sounds and was impressed, and it seems like it does a pretty unique thing of its own. I'm still a bit skeptical about certain things, mainly usability. Looking at the interface, it's definitely, creative and artsy. In my experience, usually that approach has some struggles. Something that comes to mind is this plugin by Kosh Audio called, what is it called? Pusher, I think. Is it called Pusher? Let me check that out. Although I will say this definitely looks a lot better. Yeah, Pusher has a very interesting, beautiful looking interface, but it's a bit of a nightmare to navigate. I'm hoping they redo that at some point. This seems, visually far clearer. It has, directions like that. But still, I have questions. Also, something I'm pretty skeptical about is their statement of a lack of a mix control. Because they say Secta is a colorizer. No mix parameters are available. Just load Secta onto your track and let it inspire you with timbrical shades. So if I understand that correctly, there's no mix output control. You can't do wet, dry stuff without doing your own routing in your DAW. I understand what they mean by that, but it's like you can use it fully wet if you want, and you could use it in a not fully wet way. I find that to be kind of maybe an unnecessary commitment. It just takes usability and flexibility out of the hands of the user. So I don't see how it serves anybody. I understand it from an artistic kind of dedication perspective, and hey, it's up to them to make whatever the heck they want to make. So that's their decision. But still, that will probably impact sales and probably impact usability. And then if people end up using your stuff less, that's not a great thing. I did send them a message saying that I want to check out a bunch of their stuff. I didn't get a response. It's obviously because it just got lost in the email, because if they got a message from me, they would absolutely say yes. So it must be that. I mean, they wouldn't. I can't think of any other possibility. But I did end up purchasing this because I'm hoping I'll need it for this project that I'm working on. I have big ambient soundscapes that I want to do, and I want to bring some broken lo-fi-ness to them. One of the very second negative things is that there was no demo of this, as far as I could tell. Just didn't see any opportunity or option to do that. So you kind of are at the mercy of the demos, or you just have to buy it. So that does suck. I'm hoping they'll do something about that in the future. I don't know what kind of distribution logistical setup they have going, but that's it. Doesn't seem like there's any options around that right now. On the upside, they're pretty cheap, and they do state that as being one of their goals. Let me try and find that somewhere. Well, they say compact form, easy to use at a lower convenient price. So pricing wise, it's not too bad. 39 euros, not bad, and you get 25% off when you subscribe to their newsletter, I believe. So not bad in that regard. They call this an audio effect that dynamically splits incoming audio in 2 sections, processing each with an exclusive kit of effects, sculpting silence, shaping accents, and amplifying hidden details, guiding each layer into a parallel sonic dimension. So sound designer dream. Multi-dimensional gate. I guess that's pretty much the most accurate description we're going to get from this site. Set, Verge, and so yeah, one of my issues here, or challenges, is that this is not an interface that explains itself out of the gate very well. And also, as I hover on things, I do not see a help toolkit of any sort. So if you click the logo, you get the manual here, which opens up a website. Well, it opens up the PDF in your browser. So getting in here, as you know, I usually love to do these blind and be as little educated as possible. But we're probably going to have to look at this. I'll still try and get it done without reading the manual first, because I want to, point out how this interface comes alive. But what would definitely right out of the gate, no pun intended, help a lot is when I hover on buttons, there could be a help toolbox that just says what it does. That helps a ton. Okay, here we have different buttons here, which looks like a pause, an X, and a Y. So again, no idea what these do. I can speak for sure. So I have to go to the manual and try and find those. So those are modes. Direct mode and envelopes for left and right drive their respective amplitude. Okay, so issue here, they don't actually have symbols indicating which mode is which one. So apparently one is direct, one is crossed, and one is summed. So makes sense visually, why summed, crossed is X, and direct mode is the two adjacent parallel lines. Okay, let's try and understand what they do. Direct mode envelopes for left and right drive their respective amplitude. Crossed mode envelopes for left and right drive opposite channels amplitude. Summed mode. Okay, yeah, so this doesn't really tell me anything in terms of what it will sound like, but that's fine. Going to that big knob on the left, Verge. Set amplitude threshold to generate above and below envelopes. So what I did understand, so that determines what will be above and what will be below. So above will probably be that top block and below the bottom block. So basically tells what stuff goes where, depending on the level. So that's a pretty important control. Boost increases input, simple enough. Smoothen the envelope, makes sense. Retain, prolong envelopes fall by adding randomic bursts. Okay, that seems like pretty central control for what I want to do. 13, drive above, add distortion, makes sense. Cut, filter out frequencies from, okay, makes sense. Cool, I want to know what that SC, so that's side chain, probably, yes. Amplify above envelope to add ducking to below section. So that also seems like a pretty central thing for what I want to do. Interesting that the sections have different controls. So drift, apply short randomic delay, inject tuning instability. Interesting. Melt, smear below section, so that just jumbles it up, I guess. Drive and cut. Okay, so we should have our basic bearings here. The mode thing, I just don't get any idea out of the gate what that does, but we'll have to just find out. Um, but yeah, beyond that, you're just kind of gonna have to figure it out yourself. And again, I understand it is interesting. It is kind of a exploration discovery process. This is my third demo of the day, so excuse me for being a bit not at my sharpest. Cool. Let's put this website away. We'll keep the manual there, and trying to get this done. So I have this ambient-ish track. We'll listen to a bunch of it now. This also has a big reverb at the end of it, but I've bypassed it for now. But before this, you basically have a synth that's doing stuff. Then you have some, what is this doing? Kind of a delay thing that's throwing pitches up and down. Then you have a filter, and then I have this portal sound thing going, where it's basically turning this sound into a pad, basically, and that's it. And then we'll have Secta here. But let's listen to the music without Secta first. And again, this is from the Breachway video game soundtrack. Bit of a occasional distortion there, because I'm trying to figure out the gain staging here, because it's all over the place. I'm trying to feed Secta a decent level here, so we get a good idea of that, and then I'm trying to balance out this limiter setting here. That's the gist of the track, so that's no Secta. Let's put Secta on. And we'll just start playing around. That's really the only thing I can do here. Also, one of the things that concerns me here is gain staging, because you have a lot of drive stuff here. You have amplitude changing here, so I'm slightly worried that it will very easily get super loud, and that's really annoying in a creative process for sure as well. So. But we'll find out. So let's just start playing around. Yeah, so I'm right out of the gate. I'm thinking, again, we get a lot of gain increase from the drive. I'm thinking that, because this Verge thing seems like something I'd want to loop back to once I'm more done with the sound. So if I set it to minimum, I'm assuming that now I'm entirely dealing with the low section here, because nothing is passing the threshold into the above section, which I suppose is the top one. So tweaking the below section makes more sense first. because this isn't just glitching out. This is what what it's doing. So I have no idea where I am in terms of what it's doing, but let's keep going. This is super difficult to balance the level for you guys, so apologies for... Okay, so it seems like I got this the wrong way around. Verge set to maximum is activating the below section. Okay, right off the bat, I'm wishing there was an input visual so I could tell when it's going into the above section, when it's going below. Like, just having a knob for this is kind of tricky because, okay, I have a VU meter gain staging here into Secta. So right now I'm feeding like a typical analog gear level here for it, because otherwise the level would be very quiet because just the way the workflow has gone so far with these pad sounds. So this should be a decent level, and then I'm seeing the input level and when it's visually going into above or below. Definitely yearning for that, because then I could easily find, okay, oh, this is the area where I'm feeding back and forth between the two. Again, I understand they wanted to keep it minimal, visual, use your ears, bro, but I totally get that. Fair enough. But this is just something I would really love to have visually. Being able to see where the level is and when it's going into above and below would make the workflow just so much faster. Okay, so I'm pulling both of these volume levels down all the way to nothing. Well, not to nothing, but it seems like I want them to be roughly at the same level if I want to have like a relatively consistent level. Okay, so again, here it's very difficult to find the zone where it's actually jumping up here to the above section. Let me check which one they call which one. Do they state it anywhere? First of all, let's do the most important change. Yeah, dark mode. Fuck yeah. Most important. Yeah, let me try. It doesn't actually, as far as I can tell, it doesn't state which one is which. Okay, volume above. Okay, so above section is above, but verge being at the bottom or at the lower range means that we're closer to above. So here I really need to, let me get this right. So do I need to increase my input gain to get it sort of closer to the middle? So I'm learning, I don't like the smoothness, I want the gritty thing. Okay, so yeah, exactly. This boost allows you to basically calibrate where the kind of center area of this is. Otherwise we have to be down here. It just gives you more, what's the word, resolution to work with. I'm also going to increase the input gain here a bit. Get closer to the 50% mark. Let's try these different modes, see how it changes the sound. Okay, so, I mean, first of all, stunning sound. I really like the distortion. It's very tastefully done. And this is exactly doing what I'm hoping, creating like very broken tape, distortion, fluctuation things, and just destroying, mangling your audio. Again, I'm kind of yearning for tools that help me locate what I'm looking for visually. Because yes, it's cool to tweak these and find my bearings, but also it's hard to sometimes know what you're doing if there is no visual feedback element to it, and therefore it's more difficult to replicate in the future. I would be hoping to use this as accurately in the future as possible, efficiently get my bearings. Again, these modes, it's very hard to tell with these because it seems like they're influenced in the verge control as well. Seems like the cross one is the most giving me results. It seems like the perpendicular lines, parallel lines seems like less so, and then the summing is kind of something in between. But yeah, I'm also thinking like probably less drive will obviously create more separation between these two elements. So I'm going to decrease that to see how that influences the sound. Again, I really like the idea of the retain control because it said randomic bursts. So I'm liking the sound of that, at least in theory. Let's test some more. Yeah, that's really cool, because now we have the non-drived sound with something that's half driven. Yeah, the melt control, definitely audible. Really liking that with the drift control, which again pitches or fluctuates the pitch. Well, it says short randomic delay, inject tuning instability. I like that it's like it's not completely wobbling the whole thing, but it's doing that instability, and then if I pair it with the above section, it's creating very nice, just a sense of instability, and it's not like pitching all over the place, making it very, what's the word, cheap or silly sounding. So that's actually very, very cool. That's only the difference. If you're only triggering below, then it will do the woo. But if you're pairing these together, even at its maximum setting, creates, like you really need to figure out the balance so that you don't get this effect if you don't want it. Because I'd rather keep it very subtle, and even at its max, if I find the nice balance between above and below, then it will sound really great. But if it drops below too much below, then it will sound a bit wonky. That is super nice, very thick, the saturation there. So once you find a nice spot and then you start tweaking some of these parameters, it's very clear if it's better or worse. It's just a matter of finding the right balance point. So yeah, so I'm thinking like if you have a sound that is very varying in level, that's going to be a further issue of you finding the right spot for the verge, for the threshold to be at. So if you have a very consistent sound, consistent section, then it's far easier. Then I wouldn't even, like with that one spot, I wouldn't feel like I needed a visual cue to that. But the trick is having a consistent input level, and then you can quite nicely tweak what you want. So for this track, for example, or any track, I would probably inject Secta in there for each consistent block of level, because then I can tweak this. So it's definitely also what would be super cool in the light of this would be some kind of what would you call it? Adjusting input, kind of a self-adjusting input mode that would make the input more consistent. You know, some rules for the input to be feeding this chain in a way that makes it more consistent. Because now we have the boost control, but it's sort of kind of an auto detect input with maybe a few conditions. At least as a mode would make this far more convenient. Because when you're dealing with something where level is such a crucial element, when we're talking about sending signal or here or there based on a threshold, then consistency level is obviously very important. And when you're talking about such a intense, specific creative effect with such a specific texture, you have to be very precise with how you are using it. And then if the certain conditions of the input signal are not met, and you know the level is fluctuating, then you kind of have to do it section by section. Let's play around just a bit more here. Okay, I'm understanding the modes a bit more. So it has like a panning element, like left right thing to it. I don't know if they, yeah, I mean they talk about left and right here. So direct mode, drive opposite channels amplitude. Okay, cool. Okay, I get it now. Now that so cross mode below for left and right drive opposite channels amplitude. Okay, yeah, that makes sense why I enjoy it. And then summed mode sums. Yeah, cool. Okay, I understand now. Very nice. So I think I need to wrap it up here because I'm running out of time. But to sum this up, very cool sounding. It does exactly the thing that I was hoping for that it does. It's cool broken tape degradation sounds and distortion. Distortion sounds really good, very appropriate, very thick, juicy. The drift control, I would probably want maybe a few options there. Like, I don't know, is it using like a waveform of sorts? Maybe obviously drift speed would be nice, level of the amplitude, like the intensity of that, and also, you know, a bunch of different waveforms if it's based on something like that. That would be cool. I understand that they obviously stylistically chose this to match the style of this, but that would give more flexibility, because sometimes I do find that it's making it a bit too like wobbly sounding, and instead I would want to go for maybe something more a bit subtle. Melt control, very much liking it. I'd probably lean most of the time to making it more melted that rather than abrupt, but that's obviously contextual to what you're doing. Yeah, drive sounds fantastic. And yeah, I would hope for like an auto input level regulator thing for tracks that are obviously different parts are going to vary in level. And when you have such a sensitive device that is very dependent on the input level, because you set the threshold, then depending on that, then I would have to do, if I was using this like on every section of a track, like I have a ambient track here that starts quiet, then builds and goes to this big section. Obviously, stylistically, you can still find a happy medium that works, but I can also see many cases where that isn't the case. So that's something I'd hope to see here. The sidechain function, let me look at the manual again a bit quicker to understand. Amplify above envelope to add ducking to below section. Let's see if we can make that happen still. Yeah, it definitely makes the stereo spread more apparent. Initially, for this, I wouldn't go for that. I think it's somehow making the movement between the what's the word? channels clearer. So, fair enough. And yeah, maybe I would like to also have the input level visualized somehow, seeing in the Verge when I'm going above and below. I think that would be a fantastic addition to the usability of this. Also, the mix knob, I would love a mix knob. It means I wouldn't, if I wanted to use this in parallel, I could do it very easily and wouldn't have to route it through a different channel in the DAW. Again, I understand the artistic decision that they made about that. They didn't want to make this that kind of a device, but still I would say it would be worth it, because if people want to use it like that, they can. It's just flexibility and diversity, but hey, it's your device, so you can do whatever you want with it. But I suspect the vast majority of people would want to have that in there. Yeah, visually seeing the Verge threshold level when you're going above and below is still probably the highest there. An auto regulating input. I think that's about what I can manage to pull out of this brain of mine at this stage. But yeah, really liking it. I haven't, I grabbed this because I haven't exactly found anything like this before. So kudos to the very unique approach and very unique sound. And I'm still very interested in some of the other K devices stuff. So hopefully we can have a look at those in the future as well. Definitely forgetting something that slipped my mind before I started talking about the mix knob, but maybe I'll add it down in the comments. But yeah, fantastic sounding effect. Glad to have this here. I was not disappointed. There are those points that we touched on that I hope will be added and improved upon. but it's just one man's take on it. So that's it. If you have this at home or at your studio, let me know what you think. And let me know what you think of this demo, this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.